Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So by popular demand, today is going to be the porosity video. Last week I did a video on the LOC method, the LOC method, and I asked you guys whether you wanted me to do a video on porosity, and you did. So here it is. So let's jump straight into the video. For those of you who don't know what porosity is pretty much how well your hair retains and absorbs moisture. That's pretty much it. So how well it takes in the moisture and whether it's able to keep it or whether it's not able to keep it. And that's all dependent on your hair cuticles. Your hair cuticles are pretty much what determines what your hair porosity is. So let's jump straight into the first one, which is low porosity hair. And low porosity hair has very tight and closed cuticles. I'm going to insert pictures so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So with low porosity hair, the cuticles are closed, they're tight, it's very compact, and getting water into these cuticles is very difficult. But once the water is in the cuticles, it's very easy to retain it because obviously they're shut. So with low porosity hair, you need to manipulate it to open the cuticles. We're going to discuss that, coming up soon. So pretty much the characteristics of low porosity hair are that, one, it builds up. It can get product build-up because obviously the products, if you don't treat your hair well, if you don't manipulate it for the products will just build up on top of the hair. So it can get product build-up very easily. It takes a bit more time for the product to saturate, or for water to saturate the hair, because obviously the cuticles are closed. It takes a long time to dry, and natural oils don't really penetrate the hair as easily as other hair types. So for those of you who have low porosity hair, caring for low porosity hair, you need to do a few things. You need to manipulate your hair so that your cuticles will open, and you do that by using heat. So when you do your deep heat, your deep conditioning, or when you're applying certain products, you need to manipulate the hair by using heat to open up the cuticles. So whether that be just applying, heat through a blow dryer like I did in one of my previous videos, or whether it be you have a hooded dryer. If you're lucky enough to have a hooded dryer in your home, good for you. But yeah, so you have to apply heat in order to open your cuticles up so that the cuticles will actually take in the product. You have to be careful of how much product you're actually putting into your hair, because obviously it's very easy for your hair to get product buildup. So you have to use your products with caution, and you have to make sure that you're not applying too much, and you're applying the products on damp hair. So after you've maybe spritzed it with a bit of warm water to open up the cuticles, you then apply the products, because applying the product on dry hair is not going to do anything for your hair because the cuticles are already closed. And then lastly, maintenance for low porosity hair is that you need to rinse your hair with maybe some apple cider vinegar or some sulfate shampoo, just to make sure that you strip the hair, because it's easy for you to get buildup. So if you have buildup, you need to sometimes wash your hair with maybe some apple cider vinegar to just remove all the product buildup, so your hair isn't this cluggy, smelly mess. So that's low porosity. We're going to get into medium porosity or normal porosity. This is pretty much the lucky ones of the natural hair game. Everything works out well for you. Your cuticles are in the middle, they're open and they're closed. They're able to get in enough moisture and still retain the moisture. So there's no problem with you. You live your best life. You do whatever you want to do with your natural hair journey. You don't need to manipulate your hair too much because you've been blessed. This type of hair holds styles and also hair color very well. It's just an all-rounder great hair, hair porosity to have. It's the dream porosity we wish we all had, but unfortunately it's very rare for people to have normal. Usually people are on the broader spectrum of the porosity chart. We're going to quickly brush past normal hair porosity because there's not much to talk about with it. It's, we wish, but that's not the case. So we're going to jump into high porosity hair. High porosity hair has very open cuticles. The cuticles are open, they're, you know, saying hi to the world, and they don't really close very well. So again, you need to manipulate your hair so that your cuticles will close. So once you add in the moisture, once you've added in whatever you're adding in, you need to make sure that you close the cuticles so that you at least retain the moisture and it's not just going in and out. With this type of hair, more products are needed to lock in the moisture. This is when your LOC, your lock method, comes really handy for high porosity hair, because you need a lot of product and you need a lot of moisture, and you need to make sure that you're pumping your hair with moisture because it's dry. So with high porosity hair, to care for it, you need to make sure that you don't dabble with heat, you know, hair dryers, hair straighteners, stuff like that, because by adding heat you are damaging your hair because the cuticles are already open. Most likely your hair is already dry, and then you're adding heat to dry it out even more, and to just and then you're making your hair worse than it already is. So it's good for this hair type, you just allow it to air dry, let it dry on its own, because it dries very quickly anyway. Incorporate regular deep conditioning. Make sure that you condition your hair and you seal your cuticles after. So you can seal your cuticles by washing your hair with cold water. Similar to the low porosity where you open your cuticles with hot water, you need to close your cuticles for high porosity hair with cold water. This type of hair loves heavy oil such as coconut oil and jojoba oil because it will suck it in but still be able to maintain the moisture because it's a heavy oil, so it will stay. Even if some of it goes out, even if some of it is wasted as product buildup, you know that your hair is still getting moisturized, as compared to high porosity hair, which needs lighter oils, because if you use a heavy oil such as coconut oil on high porosity hair, it's going to weigh down the hair and again product buildup. So low porosity hair, you need oils such as almond oil or argan oil to help with your hair and moisturizing your hair that's not too heavy. So that's all done. Now let's talk about the ways that you can test what your hair porosity is. There are 3 tests that you can use for checking what your hair porosity is. So we'll start off with the easier ones and then we'll go on to the one that we'll be using to test what my hair is. So there's one called the strand test, which is where you take a strand of your hair still attached to your hair, don't take it out, don't pull it out, and you run your fingers down it. So you just grab 2 fingers and you rub your fingers up and down the hair strand, just one strand. If you can feel bumps and ridges on your hair, most likely your hair is obviously high porosity because the cuticles are open. If you can feel that it's very smooth, there's no bumps, there's no ridges, then most likely your hair is low porosity, meaning that the cuticles are closed. It's really difficult to determine whether your hair is normal porosity for these 2 tests coming up, but most likely with the last test you'll be able to check whether your hair is normal porosity. So that's the strand test. The next test, the water test, and pretty much all you need is a spray bottle with some water in it and your hair. And what you do is you just spray some water on your hair and wait maybe 60 seconds, 30 seconds and see what the water does on your hair. If the water stays as beads on top of your head, then your hair is low porosity because the water hasn't been sucked in by the cuticles. If your hair is high porosity, then the water would have disappeared, there will be no beads on top of your head and the water will be sucked in. Then we'll get on to the float test, and what you'll need for this is a container or a glass or whatever you want to use that you're not going to be using to drink or eat out of after. And then also you'll be needing a strand of your hair. So you can take a strand of your hair out. If you don't have any loose hairs in your head, you can pull one out or cut one out, but luckily for me I just have to sort of run my fingers through and I'll be able to find one. So you take a strand of hair, you want to fill up the container with lukewarm water, and then you want to add your strand of hair into that. If your strand of hair floats on top of the water, then your hair is low porosity. The cuticles are closed, it will not sink. If your hair is high porosity, the strand of hair will sink to the bottom because the cuticles are closed and the hair will become saturated. If your hair is normal porosity, the hair will sort of sit in the middle because it's a bit of both, it's in the middle. So it'll sit in the middle, and that's how you know your hair is normal porosity. So that's how you do the test. You guys saw how I did my test and what my hair turned out like. Let me know in the comment section what porosity my hair is. And also do the test and see what your hair porosity is. Let me know what your hair porosity is. So I hope you guys have liked this video. I will see you guys next week. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, and press the bell button down below so you get a notification every time my video is posted. I love you guys so much. I will see you next week. Mwah.